just fine. You are on the
sure
air.
about that?
Going live on Facebook. Shotsie Gorman.
Beds 2, the smells. 4 swollen hours for $25. The Royal Motel beds were kept tidy, save for the cockroaches, by groups of lesbian maids who always seemed to be sending up spiraling signals of smoke, one in the mouth and the other in the ashtray burning. This was years before paganism was hip. They managed to keep the pill-covered chenille bedspreads from tearing, despite the fact you could read the lines in the patrons' faces through them. Always they left a mixture of pessimism, pine sol, and smoke in their wake. Slow blue ripples coming and going, counting the sheets as inventory of rooms used in a day. That's when I, in residence, smirked, sitting behind the desk taking the cash for rooms, while I leered at the circus of humanity passing through the seedy Art Deco portals of this adult pleasure palace. Could this be me, I thought, smelling of canoe? As I pulled my car around, filled with a date to gather a time in a free room, a bonus of counting heads at the Royal Motel. Royal, as she was affectionately called by those who knew her, by the sounds of her infidelities, Royal also rang off-key clang to a transient family. He, well over 6 foot, staggering in at 150 pounds, bearded and toothless, save for one stub hanging where his left bicuspid would have sat. His head arched back and off-center above a yellow-stained right armpit T-shirt where seemingly useless willow arms were attached along a deeply curved spine. She struggled to get to be 5 feet and was always dusted with Hostess cupcake crumbs, weighing in at about a volume of a crumpled, multicolored, 3-wheeled and 1-rimmed Volkswagen they had. It never ran, and she never sat in it. 2 or 3 kids, I couldn't tell. There was always more, it seemed, when a door opened slightly, and never on time to pay the rent. Cash was always ripped and worn, and it had many colors spotted on it. Royal my behind, surrounded by a very cool 50s kidney-shaped light that beamed, buzzing, always smelling of ozone. She rose like a fart in church, a boil on the butt of the community, a flea-bag whorehouse, the cops would call it when they rode past, the plastic flowers covered in road dirt, and they were in their black and whites, red lights flashing to an S&M scene gone bad. But never said a bad word about her when they pulled in, smiling for free rooms in their station wagons, flashing bands of white skin around the 3rd finger of their left hand, strung too tight around 2 young girls dressed in pink uniforms, and then smelling of Remington gun oil and Dunkin' Donuts. The neon light slithered across Route 3 in Secaucus, New Jersey, the former center of pig farms in the Garden State, now home to retired Teamsters. It was the kind of place that people from Princeton didn't even see. With darkened windows rolled up and tight, smelling of Gucci water, they roamed in their Mercedes, looking for new dealerships. The smoky canyon of beds was the flagship property of an MD who always smelled of vitamins and rubbing alcohol, who was always raging, red-faced about stretching the sheets and losing money at the track, and he would later lose it all, his license to practice, something about swapping prescriptions for sex, and then finally his life. 2 shots in the back of the head, coffined in the trunk of his 78 Deco Green Coupe de Ville, the last of the big caddies with a padded white half-roof, and the opera lights lit. They found him with a halo of bloody prescriptions. The royal miasma was managed by a cigar and garlic breath, seriously short, balding ex-cop with a taste for bisexual women, who had Sado streaks for black alligator belts, size 48. An Italian-American captain busted off the force by the shifts in political winds that kept payoffs from Passaic County mobsters to police brass from being acceptable. After all, it was really the gambling, racist white cops and premature ejaculating politicos smelling of brute, sitting in Catholic church basements with pile of cash at the table, surrounded by pistols with all the identifying serial numbers ground off throwaways, like their souls, and their junk-riddled informants who made the royal world of dark purple smoke go round. I can still smell the gunpowder and hear 2 shots echo out across the courtyard of the Royal every time I'm wrapped in a ripped Chanel bedspread, soaked with sweat of blue steel faded mornings and surrounded by the smell of pine sol and pessimism.